Hey, I'm Blair Best, and tonight on The Story, we begin in this wooded area of the Sandy River Delta. Despite efforts to clear them, as you can see, homeless camps fill these trails, which officials say can be dangerous. Firefighters have responded to 2 fires here in just the last 2 weeks. And it's our big story tonight. Hidden in the woods of the Sandy River Delta, commonly known as Thousand Acres Park, where the Sandy meets the Columbia, are homeless camps. Dozens of them.
I've been here going on 10 years probably.
Gene is among those choosing to live here.
I'm 60. I've been around a minute, and I had some things happen in 2007. I lost a child.
Sorry.
And it changed my way of looking at things. This is more of a communal existence out here. We have meetings. We try to have standards.
Yet danger prevails. This video from the Corbett Fire District last week shows what officials believe to be a stolen car engulfed in flames, not far from the camps.
It didn't have anything to do with us, so.
A week before that car fire, crews responded to another fire that broke out at one of the camps.
One person reported that someone intentionally lit the fires because they're having a conflict with someone else.
Dave Flood is the Corbett Fire Marshal. He says the fire district responds to about 3 fires a year in these woods, and in the summer, about 3 first aid calls per week.
It's a concern for us. It takes up our resources. It could put those people at risk out there.
Especially since reaching the scene isn't easy.
And we found a bunch of items that were blocking our path. Ditches that were dug that would kind of trap your tire so you couldn't get through, and I think all of that was in response to what happened out here in June.
That's when the Department of State Lands, which owns about 50 acres of the Sandy River Delta, tried removing the camps.
Because they're destroying our family. They're coming through and they're upending us.
This sparked protest and safety concerns, leading to the governor pausing cleanup efforts.
There's a lot of violence that goes on back there. There have been gunshots out here, kind of routinely gunshots, knife stuff. There's a machete attack that the sheriffs responded on a while back this summer.
We don't like society's rules. It's bull.
Despite state efforts to remove the camps, the Salvation Army provides food for those living here every day.
For folks that don't have nothing, it definitely helps. You know, we're trying to get a meeting with the governor so we can come to some kind of a conclusion where they stop throwing our away and harassing us.
So much of the Sandy River Delta, the forests and the meadows have been under restoration for decades to protect natural resources in the river bottomlands. A spokesperson for the Oregon Department of State Lands tells me the health and safety of the environment there is an ongoing concern. And because of that, they're now working with the governor and local law enforcement to create a new plan to clean up and restore the Delta. Those cleanup efforts are scheduled to begin at the end of this month. Okay, talk to us. What's going through your mind right now? Do you agree with the state trying to remove these camps? Why or why not? Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave us a voicemail, 503-226-5090. If a business or a homeowner wants to make a big change to their property in Portland, like a remodel, they have to go through a permitting process that can be expensive and time-consuming. Portland City Councilors are considering changing city code to cut down on some of that red tape. Jay Coulter has the details.
So this amendment would cut down on some permitting requirements while also temporarily suspending some city-imposed development upgrade requirements.
A lot of different things that have nothing to do with that project specifically.
Portland City Councilors considering putting a pause on what some call cumbersome requirements when it comes to property improvements.
We heard and considered a package of 4 code changes and a report of findings that recommended a temporary suspension of some aspects of development to make it easier to do business in the city.
Some of the changes include pausing requirements for certain site upgrades, frontage improvements, and even street tree planting. Wade Lang is the local advocate and political action director for the Building Owners and Managers Association of Oregon. He says they've been asking the city for a more streamlined permitting process for years.
It makes the improvements more economic and they can be done quicker. That's important, meeting timelines to get these tenants into vacant space.
So, for example, if somebody wanted to remodel an existing commercial space to be a new restaurant, the required street improvements include installing tree wells in the sidewalk and rebuilding the driveway approach and corner ramps for ADA compliance. Improvements that can cost a business hundreds of thousands of dollars. This code change would suspend that until 2029. There was some initial hesitation among councilors that suspending these requirements would have an immediate negative impact on revenue streams.
With suspension of these requirements, are we losing revenue?
That's all dependent on how many projects are coming into the city. If there's no projects, we have other issues.
But Councilor Green says the long-term benefits outweigh a short-term loss.
What got folks over the line, what got me over the line, was this idea that any of the costs associated with that foregone revenue are going to be more than made whole by the increase in economic activity.
Lang is hopeful this helps revitalize downtown.
It also signals to people that are looking to put their dollars in Portland that Portland's ready to work with you. We're making those changes so that this will be an easier process for you.
And this morning was just the first reading of the changes. The second reading is on the 24th, where Green says he expects the amendment to pass. If it does, it goes into effect on October 1st. In Portland, Jay Coulter, KGW News.
Well, on this show, we want to know what you think about the stories that we cover. And you had a lot to say about something we brought you last night. A group of Portland City Councilors and their staff taking a taxpayer-funded trip this weekend to Vienna. The trip is to study social housing. That's housing owned and operated by government or nonprofits rather than developers and property managers. The director of the Portland Bureau of Housing, or the Portland Housing Bureau rather, already spent 2 years in Vienna for this exact reason, but it was prior to her role as director. Yesterday, I sat down with Portland City Councilor Candace Avalos, who's going on the trip, along with Councilors Mitch Green and Jamie Dunphy. Councilor Avalos says they want to see the housing program in person and experience things that are hard to read on paper.
I'm not going on vacation. I'm going on a study trip to learn about a policy area that I think is important to Portlanders. So I understand how that might feel and look for people. I stand by my justification that this is an opportunity for us to expand what we know and make sure to apply good best practices in Portland. And that costs money sometimes.
The trip will last about a week. Avalos said they're paying for it out of their office budgets, but they couldn't tell me how much it'll cost. You guys did not hold back. Marianne emailed us saying Councilor Avalos stated that it is her money to spend as she sees fit, notwithstanding the challenges that City Council faced when balancing the City of Portland budget earlier this year. It seems that the City Councilors' budgets are bloated if they can afford this kind of learning environment at taxpayer expense. I hope all of them reflect on this junket expenditure when they are up for re-election. And Janelle said, your story about the trip to Austria was amazing, starting with the fact that someone already spent 2 years there studying the same thing. We're totally getting ripped off for a vacation for 20 people, regardless of how much the commissioner denies it. We should be able to know the total price tag for this junket. Certainly, someone has to sign the check for it. And another viewer left us a voicemail wondering the same thing.
If she has a discretionary budget, you mean to tell me that she wouldn't say, okay, we're going to allocate this amount of money towards our trip, and she wouldn't know the amount?
Okay, a lot of you wanted to know why the entire group has to go all the way to Austria to learn about this type of housing. Like Tamara, who wrote, no, this is another waste of taxpayers' money. There is this great software program called Zoom. And Ron said, even if Vienna holds the magic formula to affordable housing, does it really take 9 people to investigate and report back? I believe the technical term for this trip is a boondoggle. And Gary left us this voicemail.
There is no reason for any city councilors to go to Austria. It's not some new experiment that they're doing there. They've been doing it for many, many years. Everybody's well aware of it now, so it's been studied. People know about it.
Okay, the vast majority of the emails and voicemails that we got about this trip were against it. But to be fair, we did get a few who were supportive. Karen wrote, by all means, there should be a trip to Vienna. Hearing about a new project never provides the same information as seeing it in person. We now live in senior co-housing, and if there was never a visit to other places offering co-housing, this perfect place for seniors would not be available. And Donna wrote, Portland needs this. Housing costs are out of control here and in much of the U.S. Vienna has come up with the models for housing that keep costs reasonable for most families. And isn't that what we want? Yes, we are lucky to have the Portland Housing Bureau Director's knowledge working for Portland now. But her having knowledge is not the same as our own counselors going there and seeing for themselves what this is all about. So tell us what you think. You can send us an email anytime at thestory@kgw.com or leave us a voicemail, 503-226-5090.
That's why we have freedom of speech. That's why we have the First Amendment. It's not for nice talk. It's for talk that offends people.
Well, the sheriff of Pierce County, Washington, is under fire tonight after questioning whether transgender people should own guns with a post on social media. He says it's a matter of free speech and that he was trying to be provocative. But as Connor Board found, some in the community say his words cross a line.
Speech is offensive. That's what it's about. That's why we have freedom of speech.
Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank says a social media post he made Monday asking if it's time to ban trans people from owning guns was meant to be provocative.
I wanted to see what the people on the left would say if they'd say, the people who say we should ban firearms, what they're going to say if I ask them a question about that and see what the responses might be.
He posted the tweet less than 1 week after a transgender woman carried out a mass shooting at a Minnesota church. The motive is still under investigation. Swank said he believes transgender people have mental health problems.
If I thought I was the President of the United States today, would people say I have a mental health issue? They would say yes, but if you think you're a boy and you're a girl, it's okay.
He did add that he does not believe all transgender people should be banned from owning guns.
I didn't put it out to be a threat to anybody's right to own a gun, but the fact of the matter is there are people out there who say that we should ban all guns, and so then I'm putting it out there. Should we ban guns? And if we do, who should we ban them from and things like that? Open up the conversation.
Data from 2016 to 2020 shows that out of the 180 mass attacks in the U.S., less than 2% were carried out by people who are transgender. More than 95% were perpetrated by cisgender men. That's according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
Is it time for all cisgender white men for their rights to be taken away? Because they are notoriously the ones that are committing the mass shootings and crimes.
The Rainbow Center in Tacoma is a nonprofit that supports people in the LGBTQ plus community. They say it's important for people in leadership positions to speak in a responsible way that doesn't cause harm to the community they serve, which includes transgender people.
We believe very strongly that trans rights are human rights. We deserve complete equity and equality across the board and should not be demonized or othered because of one human being that commits a crime.
The sheriff says he will serve and protect everyone in the county and says everyone has a right to free speech.
I worked in Seattle for 33 years. I worked hundreds and hundreds of protests. I probably didn't agree with very many of those people at all, but I always made sure they had the right to voice their opinion, say what they want to say, and that's what I still stand by.
I asked Sheriff Swank if he would be okay with his deputies sharing their thoughts on social media in the same way. He said it would probably be acceptable as long as it wasn't criminal or cause for a lawsuit. He said he supports freedom of speech, even if people at the sheriff's office were to share thoughts that were contrary to his. In Tacoma, Connor Board, King 5 News.
Well, still ahead, the Publishers Clearinghouse promised winners they'd be set for life, sending them thousands of dollars a year until the company suddenly went bankrupt. Now those winners are scrambling after years of not having to worry about money. How it happened when the story returns. To a KGW investigation now into Publishers Clearinghouse, the company made famous for its prize patrol that delivers oversized checks. Now it turns out some of the biggest winners aren't getting paid after the company went bust. Kyla Boshi has their stories.
Stop making excuses. Only Publishers Clearinghouse can make you so rich, so fast. So enter.
There's no place like our house.
For decades, Publishers Clearinghouse made dreams come true.
Hi, people. It's true. It's really true.
And in August of 2012, the prize patrol delivered. John Wiley of Southern Oregon figured he was set for life.
You are John Wiley.
Yes, I am.
You're shaken. Just as it says here, you have won $5,000 a week forever.
The jackpot allowed John to retire and move closer to his kids. He bought a house near Bellingham with enough land for the 4 dogs and 2 goats. Earlier this year, John expected his forever prize payment to arrive, as it always did. $260,000 direct deposit. But the money never came. And in April, Publishers Clearinghouse filed for bankruptcy.
You know, I thought, why didn't somebody at least give me a heads up? Hey, we're going out of business, something. But no, it's like somebody just cut the cord and I'm falling.
With no annual prize payment, the 61-year-old is scraping by. He relied on that income. It was his lifeline and was supposed to be forever.
Sold my jet ski, sold my trailer. I had a little bit of money left over, and that's what I'm living on right now.
John's had trouble finding work, and the bills are piling up.
Pretty sure I'm going to lose my home.
And he's not alone.
February 28th, and the prize patrol is in Cottage Grove, Oregon.
In 2021, Publishers Clearinghouse delivered an oversized check to Tamar Veach and promised the prize winner $5,000 a week for life.
We were fine before, but it definitely opened a lot of doors for us, fun stuff to do with the kids. We were able to travel.
When the prize payout unexpectedly didn't arrive, Tamar and her husband Matthew had to reshuffle the family budget. They have 3 kids and a mortgage to pay for.
What kind of position does this put you folks in?
We're not drowning, but
right. It's real tight. It's real tight.
The couple, both disabled Army veterans, feel Publishers Clearinghouse strung them along with excuses and delays before the company went bust.
And really, it's cool.
Because you do change people's lives, and now you've messed it up.
Well, and it's worse, right? It's worse to say you'll get this thing and your life has changed forever. Oh, but sorry. No, it's not.
Bankruptcy records show Publishers Clearinghouse has at least 10 unpaid prize winners. Most are owed more than $2 million.
Here we have a really, really bad situation. There's not enough to pay everyone.
University of Oregon law professor Andrea Coles-Bier says in bankruptcy proceedings, these prize winners join the list of unsecured creditors.
So the likelihood of them getting paid?
Very slim. I'm not going to say as slim as the odds of they're actually winning the lottery, but there's not going to be much left over.
So how did this happen to an American institution like Publishers Clearinghouse, the direct mail marketing company known for its prize patrol?
We were at one point in time the most loved company in the U.S.
Darrell Lester is a retired company executive and author of Downfall of an Icon, the true inside story of Publishers Clearinghouse. He said the company used to protect winners by setting aside the money up front in secure bank or insurance accounts.
I know for a fact in my day, there was a 30-year annuity that was prepaid in the winner's name. Something changed.
In July, a company called ARB Interactive bought Publishers Clearinghouse out of bankruptcy. ARB says it'll keep running contests, but will only pay out prizes awarded after it took over. A spokesperson admitted, "We recognize the impact this has had on past winners and the disappointment caused by the bankruptcy process."
Thank you. How can I ever thank you guys?
These prize winners are disappointed, yes.
As long as I can make somebody else happy with some of this, that'll be good with me.
But mostly, they just wish they had time to prepare for the lost income and the broken promise.
I was proud of the fact that I left my children something. Now I can't leave them anything, and it really disappoints me.
And just to expand on that point, forever prize winners were supposed to be paid weekly for the rest of their life. Then after they die, the weekly payments continue for the recipient of their choosing. So in many ways, this bankruptcy impacts not just the winners, but their children. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
But when we come back, will the famed Vox's Swifts return to their home in the Chapman Elementary chimney after they disappeared last year? Right now, it's not looking like it. What experts are saying about some of the reasons they might be staying away and where they think they're going instead. Well, a beloved Portland tradition might be seeing some changes. Bird watchers are on alert to see if the Vox's Swifts are going to return to Chapman Elementary this year. For decades, the birds return to the school every September to roost in the school's chimneys. It is a big event for Portlanders. Crowds of people have picnics on the hill overlooking the school to watch the birds fly around before swirling into the chimney. They're doing it. This video is from 2 years ago because that didn't happen last year. Usually tens of thousands of birds come to Chapman each night, but last year it was only a few dozen to a few hundred, and some nights none at all. This year everyone is waiting to see if they come back, but so far not much luck. We went out last night to check it out and no birds. The Portland Bird Alliance, who tracks the Swifts, says they usually start arriving at the end of August and hit their peak in mid-September. They say they haven't really seen any of the birds at Chapman this year, but they could still show up in the coming weeks. They say they're not quite sure why they seem to be abandoning the Chapman chimney.
It's a little bit of a mystery. We've looked at predator numbers because if people that are familiar with going to Chapman, they'll often see a Cooper's hawk or some crows perched on top of the chimney, and they will sometimes take out a swift or two as they're going into the chimney when they're really vulnerable. And we know from other sites around the West Coast that sometimes predators can affect the behavior and cause birds to move away from those areas. But we collect not only the data of the number of swifts going in the chimney, but also the predator activity, and we have not noticed any kind of correlation between predator activity and the swifts going away. So we're not really sure. It could be a factor, but we're not 100% sure.
But they say it's not unusual for the swifts to move on to a new resting place.
The swifts, they do lots of different things. So we've monitored many swift chimneys in the Portland metro area for decades. And we've seen in some places they'll use for a few years and then they'll move somewhere else. They'll abandon those chimneys and move somewhere else. With Chapman, it's a little unusual because they've been so regular there for many decades, at least since the 1990s, and a big number of birds. And so for us to see them leave the Chapman area is a little surprising, but not totally unusual.
Well, the Bird Alliance says they have noticed higher numbers of swifts at other chimneys around town. If you see swifts roosting in your neighborhood, they want to hear about it. And you can text the word swifts to the number on your screen, 503-226-5088, and we'll text you back with a link to a form that the Bird Alliance would like you to fill out. Well, that's the end of our show, folks. Thanks so much for watching. The good stuff is coming your way next. And don't forget, everyone has a story to tell. If you ever miss an episode of The Story at 6:30, we re-air it at 8:30 and 10:30 on our TV app, KGW+. It's also there the next day at 11:30 a.m. And you can download that free app right now on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. We will not have a show tomorrow night because of football, but I'll see you right back here Friday night at 6:30.